This is Rudy Giuliani back with you with America's Mayor live from Palm Beach. And we were just finishing up our show on Frank Speech Network, the Rudy Giuliani show. And we were discussing, we discussed the Laken Riley case as a case that really will be historical because it opened up this whole area of this tremendous epidemic we have of migrant crime given to us because of the policies of progressive Democrats like Joe Biden and Harris and all these crazy, insane district attorneys running around the country. And then the idea of open border. You put the two things together, we're getting a lot of people killed. And that's how Laken Riley was killed. Ibarra came in from Venezuela. He should never have been taken in and let off to New York. He went to New York. He committed a couple of crimes there. Of course, they applied their Cuomo, Hochul, don't put anybody in jail, let them out on the street. But then they did something else that's unforgivable. They didn't report him to immigration because New York has a law that the Mayor Adams, enforces that says that the police cannot inform immigration. Had police informed immigration, Laken Riley be alive today. Think they should change that? Are they crazy? Well, not only that, they gave him the money to go to Athens, Georgia. That's pretty crazy also. And within a short period of time, he went trolling for women and wanted to rape one, and he found one. She fought back bravely and gallantly and collected all the evidence that was needed to convict him, except he was convicted at 19 minutes by the judge, but no death penalty because she happened to be in a jurisdiction with a Soros-type DA who doesn't believe in the death penalty. When you take an oath to enforce the law of Georgia contains, you don't say, I take an oath to enforce the law, I accept the death penalty. I don't know where these woke DAs think they get the right to do this. Not only that, this horrible DA was voted out of office. She recused herself from this case, but she first made the decision, no death penalty. So what the hell? I mean, I don't know. You can look at a stupid face, right? Look at that. Look at that stupid face. And that stupid face is going to cost the taxpayers of Georgia about at least $20 million to keep this bum alive. And if you happen to think that life imprisonment is worse than the death penalty, I tell people, please consider everybody who gets the death penalty disagrees with you. That's why they spend millions and go nuts and crazy and lie and get every stupid, idiotic celebrity that they can get to try to get them off. If it was worse than the death penalty, they would volunteer for the death penalty rather than spend the rest of their time in prison. But of course, there is a little caveat there. There's always hope you're going to get out. Well, you get bad enough governors like we have, you will. Look at New York. 29 cop killers running around since 2019 because of Cuomo's change in parole. 29 cop killers, most of whom were thought to have been put away for the rest of their lives as a trade-off where, well, they'll get life in prison instead of the death penalty. This is a tragedy. This is another example of what happens when we go wacky left wing. I think they hate America. I really do. New York City now has a new police commissioner. She comes from a very, very wonderful family that I happen to think is one of the best families in the world. And I am reluctant to say anything negative about her, except the fact that I'm very honest. And what I will say about her is I don't see the background to be police commissioner. Yeah, she did work for the police department for 12 years, but in information technology. Probably more than most, I know the complexity of this job. It requires a broad base of experience in policing. There do have to be some tough arrests and difficult investigations and being on the threat of death. And all three of my police commissioners were exceptional law enforcement people with exceptional law enforcement careers from which they could draw to make very, very practical decisions and helpful decisions. This isn't a guessing game. It comes from years and years of experience. And Jessica doesn't have that. She does come from a very wealthy family and a very important New York family. And that's, I mean that truly, that's a wonderful thing. But the job she had before, sanitation commissioner, I don't know if she knew much about that. I think she did a pretty good job with that one. But that's a little different. What you say? But this is Democrat politics. And nobody, the New York papers, this is a wonderful appointment. She's very well qualified. I don't think she's ever made an arrest. She's very well qualified. And they go after the Trump people like crazy, like animals. But she's very well qualified. I know policing a hell of a lot better than they do. She is very well qualified. She may turn out to be very good. Who knows? But you got to be a damn liar to say she's well qualified by having run the Information Technology Bureau. To run the NYPD? I don't think so. But it is Adams, and he's in desperation right now, praying that Trump will give him a pardon. And Trump would make a terrible mistake giving him a pardon. And I begin by agreeing with the president and with even Adams' people that he would not have been investigated but for the fact that he turned on Biden. But beyond that, the question is, did he commit a crime? And I think from what I see, I smell something I know very, very well. And that is the usual Democratic politicians playing with no bid contracts. Now, when I say playing with, you got to realize they don't just whack up small amounts of money in New York. The one that I prosecuted was $20 million. PPP, I don't know how much they whacked up with PPP. Nobody did anything about it. That happened all over the country, by the way. Governors, the other officials paying inordinate amounts for things that you could have gotten for half of that price, leaving room for the kickbacks. So that's what he's being investigated for. The case the federal government picked was the upgrading of tickets, which is very questionable as to whether it should be brought to the case. It's probably a crime, probably, but you don't do probably a crime unless, you're a dishonest, dishonorable, unethical Democrat trying to frame Donald Trump. But the reason I would be careful about a pardon for him is the cases that they're investigating smell bad. Now, it may turn out that he's innocent, and it may turn out that he's presumed innocent, and he is. But then again, I would say I'd reserve judgment. Could turn out to be one of the really big city scandals. A lot of money involved. Very suspicious that he kind of accelerated the number of illegals we got in the city. What mayor would do that? Now, if the illegals are a source of profit because you put out these no bid contracts for twice what they really should cost, and you have a little expertise in that with a group of people, and you can make a fortune, you and your buddies, then maybe you do things like encourage them to come. And even when he was complaining to Biden because he wanted Biden's money to take care of them, he was offering them debit cards. Why would you offer an illegal debit cards when you're complaining about the number of people coming to your city? You're not stupid. You got to realize that's going to bring even more people to your city. So you got to, what's the motive for that? Could it be that he and his pals were making a fortune on those no bid contracts, all of which seem suspiciously very, very high? Now, this is having had a reputation, suggestion at least, that he used to do that with homeless contracts. Don't know for sure that's true, but I sure would factor that into not making the mistake of pardoning him before this full investigation runs out. And finally, put no bid contract and a city Democrat together, and the odds are that a crime was committed. Oh, only for the last 150 years. Give you the big overview. New York City has a larger budget than the state of Florida. New York City has 8 million people. Florida has 22 million. What do you think we do with the rest of that money? Better services? I can tell you what we do, but that has to be in a whole other program. So Biden is trying to do as much damage as he can on the way out. So now, having made sure that Israel has sanctions on it, and made sure that Hamas is getting money, and Iran is getting money. So now he's set up a new program for illegal migrants. You know, they come in and they should be detained or sent back. We call it catch and release, right? And they're released. The release is an absurdity. They're released for like 4. So they come in and they're given a date, come back in 2029. But then they've got to check in on not really a very, very extensive basis, but they have to check in wherever they are. He is now wants to change it. He's going to set up an app. They can have an app. And they can hit the app, and that'd be good enough. And the app isn't even equipped with location services. And he wants to impose that before Trump comes in. Now, I imagine Trump can overturn it pretty quickly. But it'll just give you an idea of their tremendous motive for getting these illegals in here, no matter who they kill, no matter who they rape, no matter how much fentanyl they bring in, no matter how much damage they do to us. Is it just that they want them in the Democrat Party? I mean, they've registered about 20 to 25% of them. And I didn't make a big deal out of this election because we won it, but I'm not laboring under the illusion they didn't cheat. I mean, they're probably practicing for the next one. One congressman came right out and said it. I don't like these illegal immigrants very much, but I need them for redistricting. You need them for redistricting? And they kill Laken Riley? And they kill a whole bunch of other kids? And your redistricting is more important than that? Mm-hmm. That's the party that you idiots in New York vote for. Look at Biden's face. Take a look at that. Should this guy still be president? Did you see him at the G20? First of all, they stuck him in the back. He was in the back. Well, there's another. Well, you got some other idiot up there. That's the DA. That's the DA that can't enforce the death penalty. But he's going around the world. He's still the president, and he's still doing things like sanctioning Israel. That's a real sanction. He's getting money flowing to terrorist states. He gave Ukraine permission to bomb further into Russia. Now, if he was going to give them this permission, he should have done it a year ago when it might have done some good. Now, the only thing it does is tempt or raise the possibility that Putin, before Trump comes in, he can do some real damage to Ukraine. I don't think it raises the possibility of like a nuclear war or that sort of thing. Putin was very careful to say short-range missiles. He did say that this creates an exception to the nuclear policy if they continue to attack, and that he would use nuclear weapons. But he made it clear that he would use short-range nuclear weapons, which is, I think, if you might recall, Ted, what I predicted about 3 weeks ago he would do if the demented one finally decided.
That's right.
Finally decided to go further into Russia. Now, this is a little bit of a big deal. Well, of course, it's never a big deal when people are getting killed with bombs, but the extent to which these other missiles go into Russia, if I have it correctly, they had missiles that could go about 50 to 80 miles into Russia, which allowed them to capture Kursk. These missiles go about 150 miles into Russia. To reach Moscow, they've got to have missiles that go, assuming they're right on the border, about 600 miles. If they're at one of their usual places for doing things, it would almost 1,000 miles. So these missiles are hardly a real threat to Putin. But the real question is, how is he going to use it for purposes of lining himself up for a negotiation? Will he think it's better to just ignore it and continue what he's doing inside Ukraine, taking more territory? Or this is a great excuse for him to destroy Kiev. I mean, I don't know his mind. I know that what we did was we made a terrible mistake, and by waiting until the end to do this, and we've given him the tactical choices. And as usual, Biden will leave the presidency with an unblemished record. As Secretary Gates said years ago, he's never made a correct decision about foreign policy in his life, and it's uncanny. Even a dodo would occasionally pick the right decision.
So now, and my understanding is, Mayor, these missiles, at least the ones that we know have been fired off from Ukraine, still do not possess the capability of hitting Moscow. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, way. They'd have to be able to. I mean, they go about at best 150 miles, and if you take the closest point, it's about 400 miles, and a convenient point's really about 700 miles. Yeah, they cannot go into Moscow. I don't know how much damage they actually do. And the ones that he used were the ones that the Brits gave him, not the ones that we gave him. The ones that he used in that first attack that Zelensky engaged in. See, Zelensky thinks that by doing this, Putin's going to feel pain, and he's going to, give up some territory inside Ukraine. I don't think he will. I think if Zelensky wants to do something intelligent, he's got to carve away at some of those areas that he has in Russia, because they're all trying to have as much as they can going into the negotiation. And Putin, while Zelensky's doing this sort of symbolic attack on Russia and taking this useless city, Kursk, he's actually expanded his territory in Ukraine quite effectively. And there is still 2 months to do it. So also, Zelensky has now lost his general, and Zelensky's knowledge of warfare is similar to the new police commissioner's knowledge of policing. He's an actor, a comedian.
He was a comedian.
An actor, he's a comedian, and he's created by one of the most crooked men in Ukraine, Mr. Kolomoisky. He's Mr. Kolomoisky's little plaything. Kolomoisky made him a multimillionaire. Kolomoisky is the chief money launderer in Ukraine, knows where all the bodies are buried. So does Zelensky, and he keeps it quiet. So that's why he gets so much money. He says to Joe, you want to see the other pictures that Giuliani doesn't have? Joe doesn't want to see those pictures.
That's right.
So MSNBC is disappearing. They're folding into, if I have this correct, Ted, I'm not even going to give you much. I don't want you to even find it. They're folding into something called, what is the name of this thing here?
Well, my understanding is they're spinning
TV, SNIT.
Well, you're not kidding. Wow.
Left-leaning network. It's a left-leaning network. MSNBC stars Rachel Maddow, otherwise known as Mad Cow, Chris Jansen, and Katie Tour joined a tense 10 a.m. meeting at 30 Rock in Midtown, led by NBC Universal Chairman Mark Lazarus, who will lead the new company.
Wow.
Staffers fearing looming layoffs peppered him with questions about if the network will need to change its name, logos, and headquarters. What about changing its coverage and becoming fair and stop lying? After report service, the new entity could be cut off from the reporting muscle of NBC News. Lazarus told MSNBC staffers he wasn't sure if the network would have to change its identity or its home, according to its insiders. Don't talk about changing their coverage, which is lying, dishonest. Everyone is in a panic because everything is up in the air, one MSNBC source told the Post. Couldn't happen to a better group of people. Another insider close to the network said, people don't really know what's going on.
That's right. Comcast announced this Wednesday.
MSNBC never knew what was going on.
Yeah, I was going to say that's nothing new. MSNBC, CNBC, and other cable assets are being spun off. Now that's separate from the NBC.
Called Spin Company.
Oh no, the irony.
Join. There's a theory that Mad Cow, Joy Reid, Lawrence O'Donnell will join CNBC's Oxygen, E, Sci-Fi, and the Golf Channel as part of a new company called Spin Company. And they are very upset because it breaks off their connection with all of the benefits they get from NBC News. But maybe the benefit is they won't get as much distorted, covered up news, lying reports from NBC.
That's right. And of course, they're not spinning off NBC News, the broadcast network. So this is going to impact their cable networks. And so the question will be, do you change the name? Because when MSNBC was founded, wasn't it a mix of NBC and MSN, the website?
It was founded by Roger Ailes.
MSNBC was founded by Roger. Back to your buddy, Roger Ailes.
He founded CNBC originally. And then he put together MSNBC. And then Jack Welch had to choose between him and the president of NBC because the president of NBC was a lefty and Roger was a righty, and he got rid of Roger, and Roger went and beat them into the ground.
And that's when he started Fox News.
Fox now is again back at the point where if you double the ratings of MSNBC and CNN, Fox has more than that.
And what did you do to help Fox in New York City, Fox News? What did he do? What did you do to help Fox News?
I gave him an access. I gave them a network.
In the 90s, right?
Yeah, because Turner, who was a
Ted Turner,
miserable left-wing guy who had no sense of free speech, wouldn't allow him on.
Wow.
Wouldn't allow him on in New York or several other places.
Wow. And of course, New York's
been doing that for years. I mean, he's been trying to control speech for years. So I said, the hell with that. We've got 4 channels. I made a great deal with Rupert. He paid me a fortune for the channel. I had foreign broadcasting on it that nobody was watching.
These were the city channels of the city of New York when you were mayor.
73.
Channel 73.
Yeah.
A foreign language channel.
And eventually they made a deal and they would put all the way up at 44. And very quickly they passed MSNBC, which really was Roger's goal. I don't think he ever thought he was going to pass. All of a sudden he passes CNN. And I think the disputed 2000 election really
helped Fox big time. Of course, CNN got its, they really came of age during the Gulf War.
The first Gulf War. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a Bernard Shaw, I think was his name, right? Some of these names back in the day. Wolf Blitzer might have still been there back then, too.
Oh, Wolf Blitzer's been there forever. Blitzer was there before there was radio.
Yeah, that's right. So CNN. So wow. So MSNBC. Does this mean can we put Newsmax now as part of the big three cable networks and take off MSNBC? Are you prepared to do that?
I think we have to see what happens.
Okay.
I mean, nobody watches it now.
Yeah. MSNBC. The ratings are tanking. That's why Morning Joe and Mika groveled and begged their way back into Mar-a-Lago.
It didn't do them any good. Look, they had to crawl. I heard that Trump put up a little staircase and they had to crawl up.
Yeah, yeah.
They had to crawl up the staircase, licking the floor.
Yeah. Well, you know, Joe would have done it.
Well, for Joe, that was like a gourmet meal.
Yeah, yeah. Scarborough, those. I mean, look. Remember how they treated the president back in 2015 when he first announced they were all yucking it up with him?
Before they were in love with him until something went wrong around the time of the election.
Well, when they realized, oh my gosh, this guy's going to win, and he's not a puppet. Uh-oh, and that's when they got the notice from the higher ups.
Well, you know, they must be like sympathetic to Nazism, right? I mean, they went and kissed a ring of Hitler.
You're right.
Right?
How dare they?
Was he Hitler?
He was. That's right.
Yeah, he was Hitler.
And all of a sudden, he's meeting with him.
And look at Biden. Biden had a good time with him. He was smiling and laughing with Hitler.
Wasn't that something?
Because in Biden's case, he probably didn't remember.
Yeah, he probably has.
But even know he was talking to us.
Yeah. Not a clue.
Oh, I know Donald Trump. He did a ice rink.
Yeah, that's right. And Joe can, we know the truth about 2020, but Joe, I think, in a way, is very much okay with those election results.
You think?
I think. Look, he can go to everybody and say, "Look, I told you so. You guys got me."
He's smiling a lot now, but one never knows why he's smiling because he does have dementia.
That's right.
And people who have dementia have, let's say, odd reactions, right?
That's a good way to put it.
But he's walking around even crazier now than before.
That's right. That's right. It's going downhill fast, and that makes me nervous, Mayor. I mean, you've been saying this for a long time. It's not about whether Kamala
is to go, and we've got Putin talking about nuclear weapons. I mean, I think he's bluffing.
But what's your rule on international affairs? You explained this to me yesterday.
You take them seriously. When they say nuclear weapons, you get ready because you take them seriously. I mean, every time we didn't take Hitler seriously, right? We're making a terrible mistake. We didn't take bin Laden seriously. I mean, Clinton would return, he blew up an American naval vessel,
the Cole.
Yeah, and we bombed an empty field. So he says, "Yeah, okay, they're a bunch of patsies." And they have 2 months left with a completely useless president who they know is useless. Like, we're not hiding it from him.
Mm-hmm.
And they know the people behind him are usually. Because if the guy behind him is Obama, they slapped him around even more than they slapped around Biden.
That's right.
I mean, remember, his first attack on Ukraine was when Obama was president. Well, that was Georgia.
Georgia, sorry. Yep, that's right.
But Ukraine, which is a much more significant invasion, because it's right next to NATO. He took Obama's measure, and of course, Obama, the prince, never gets criticized. The reality is, if we're allowed to examine foreign policy, it all comes about because of Biden's red lines that he drew in Syria. And he kept
Obama's
saying,
red lines, yeah.
If you use weapons or chemical weapons, rather, if you use chemical weapons, we're going to retaliate very seriously. And he did. Second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth times. By the sixth time, Putin has his measure and says, "I can push this guy all over the globe. I can go into
Crimea.
Ukraine. He won't do anything." And he didn't do anything.
And he didn't do anything.
They didn't even give him guns.
Amazing, right? And then somehow President Trump is the
President Trump gave him.
He's the one that gave him weapons. Yeah, it's absurd how the American media just totally lies.
Meanwhile,
flips the truth.
2016, the Ukrainian officials did everything they could to elect Hillary Clinton. They cheated in every way humanly possible to help her get elected. The Russian collusion that never happened was straight out and out Ukrainian collusion, trying to elect Hillary Clinton and to destroy Donald Trump, including to making up stories about him. And the whole Steele affidavit was written in Ukraine. It's a, and now we've got a war going on for no purpose. Two purposes: kill people, make money. Well, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back. How are you? I'm doing great.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Like school choice. Here we are, Rudy Giuliani, and this is America's Mayor Live. So here are a couple of things to watch for. As you know, I think we mentioned it on the earlier show, Matt Gaetz, unfortunately, has stepped down, and Pam Bondi, former Attorney General of Florida, has been named as Attorney General. I assume that was all worked out and decided 2 or 3 days before, with the vetting for Pam, and it should be a nomination that should go through. No, I hate to say it, easily. I've probably jinxed a poor woman if I say it would go through easily, but I think it will. And what else? I guess Whitaker, former acting Attorney General, has been made ambassador to NATO. I thought he might have a chance of being Attorney General. He did a very good job in the acting capacity. I was Trump's chief attorney then and worked with him a lot and was impressed with him. So who knows? A lot of changes go on. He may still be Attorney General. If he wants to, maybe he doesn't want the job. He did the acting job, and sometimes you want to try something different. He was acting because he was already a presidential appointee for some reason, and therefore you could use him as an acting. You can't just take somebody and make them an acting. They have to have past Senate confirmation. I think it could move somebody over, like from the Treasury Department, and make him Attorney General, as long as he's been confirmed. But you just can't take somebody that hasn't been confirmed. Well, you could take a U.S. attorney. There are 94 of them. They're all confirmed. So you have a big choice. He was a U.S. attorney somewhere. That was it.
Oh, that's right.
So I think one of the real opportunities presented to us in this administration is accomplishing something that I think gives us the only hope of turning around American education, and that's choice. Choice is blocked solely because of the teachers union. They own the Democratic Party. It's pure bribery and extortion. They do not allow teachers to support choice. You'll be destroyed if you do. I had a chancellor of the New York City Police Department that left when I embraced choice because I would ruin his career. The reality is that Trump has now been elected with a mandate for choice, and a pretty strong one. And if you look at Texas, even Texas, which is a Republican state, the teachers union has gotten into enough Republicans. They do that in New York too, and they make sure. I mean, Republicans can be bribed. Democrats just do it more. So they make sure they own enough Republicans so you can't do a damn thing with the schools other than what they want, which is more money and more bureaucracy, less teachers, and more time off for them. Well, as far as the children's education, they don't care. I've never had a negotiation with Randy Weingarten, who was the head of the New York union before she got her job internationally. I've never remember her ever discussing anything that had to do with the children. Usually had to do with some disgusting pedophile teacher that she was defending, or how they wanted one less hour, or they wanted some more bureaucratic positions set up. So basically, they want to get them out of teaching as fast as possible and make them bureaucrats so they don't have to work too hard and they get more money. So we have, in New York City, we have a teacher, and then we have a bureaucrat watching the teacher. Then we have 2 bureaucrats watching the bureaucrat, and then 4 bureaucrats who write reports about the whole group, and then 7 bureaucrats who work for the superintendent. So there are about 10 of those for every teacher. And they keep creating new positions, and most mayors do not have the independence to fight with them because the teachers union controls their election. Adams isn't going to fight with the teachers union. I mean, they're much stronger than Adams. Now, I didn't care. They didn't support me. I didn't like them. They didn't like me. I thought they were a bunch of communists, and I just never negotiated with them. Screw them. And things worked out really well. And I did everything I could to support independent schools, private schools, charter schools. Charter schools are now so popular in New York. There are hundreds of thousands of parents that are applying for charter schools. You know, the teachers union has done? It's gotten Albany to limit the number of charter schools you can have. And the governor is against that, and the mayor's against that. But the teachers union says, no more charter schools. Okay. Hasn't been a new one. Well, I guess there are a couple, 3 or 4. And then they got rid of a couple. They are dead set against charter schools, and they perform so much better than public schools. So Texas had this problem. Believe it or not, Texas, they went and bought off the Republicans in Texas. Abbott went out and defeated them. Good old Ronald Reagan technique. He went out and defeated them, and he got himself a majority, and now they have a school choice bill. And it's a school scholarship bill. And I think we now have at least a dozen school states that have school choice. And what Trump is considering, and I think that's why he nominated Linda McMahon, who, as Secretary of Education, will have had a background running one of the largest school choice organizations in the country. And I think they're going to set up a scholarship for parents. They can get it if they take the kid out of the public school and want to put them in a private school. And I think ultimately they'll get to a much cleaner solution. But of course, the teachers union, they'll all faint and they'll go crazy, and who knows what they'll do. Basically, we should just take the money that we spend per child, give it to the parent, Let the parents figure out where they want to spend it. You want to spend it in the public school? God bless you. Fine. Want to spend it in a private school? Fine. You want to spend it on some kind of at least sanctioned form of homeschooling? Fine. Want it to be religious? That's good. Don't want it to be religious? That's good too. We legislate because of Marx. We legislate on the theory that everyone's dysfunctional. So that's why somebody like Terry McAuliffe says, the way to decide on education is not with the parents. Parents don't know anything about education. The teachers do. And the idea there is that, a lot of kids in the public schools in the poor areas don't have two parents or whatever. On the other hand, a lot of kids do have two parents. And a lot of them have one parent that is just as good as two, and some have grandparents. It's the minority of children who have no one to take care of them. But we make policy as if everybody has no one to take care of them. So who's going to know better about a child's education? A bureaucrat and a teacher that sees the kid sporadically, and in many cases, it has not turned into the kind of professional relationship it used to be because of all the strain on it. Or the parents who love the child. You want decisions like this made by somebody who loves the child, not where the child is a number that gets you a government reimbursement. That's why they, try to keep up the numbers and complain about more money. It's a communist theory. More than a theory, it's a bedrock of communism that a child is the property of the state. And when McAuliffe said, parents don't know anything about education, the school board and the teacher should decide. He's basically saying they're property of the state. When Tampon Tim in Minnesota set up a center for the mutilation of children, so children as young as 11, 12, 13 come there and have their genitals taken off or have their bodies altered if they're women and not have to tell their parents. What the hell is he saying? He's saying they're property of the state. What do you know, parents? You don't know anything. The kid says, I want to be a girl. He's 13. We'll decide. Of course, he's property of the state. Now, how did Tampon Tim develop that? 30 years in China. Never even explored during the campaign because China might pull its money from this organization or that organization. You have no idea how entrenched China is in this country. It's pathetic. And when you look at the maniacal attempts to defeat Trump, and I'm not just talking about the assassination attempts, I'm talking about all the frame-ups. I mean, it's extraordinary how many times they tried to frame him up. It's not just China, but China's involved in it. China tried to do everything and anything to keep him out of the White House. He's the only one who stands up to them. Absolutely the only one. And I've seen him lose fundraisers over that. That they've infiltrated our educational institutions. They've infiltrated our government. They've even infiltrated the way we think. And now with this new group that they've been able to send over, because the country's been wide open, we don't even know how many they sent in. It's something we're really going to have to watch and be on alert for watching for their influence, so we can pick it out right away, and we'll keep you alerted to it. Believe me. Germany has taken 200,000 troops and moved them over to their eastern border, and they're prepared to move as many as 800,000 troops. You want something that wants to make you get a little chill, that Germany thinks there's a possibility of a world war, that'd be it. They just moved 200,000 troops from the west to the east, the opposite direction Hitler went when he fortified the Battle of the Bulge. and he's put them right on the border with Poland. And Germany, up until now, was the most unrealistic about whether there'd be a war or not. That changed dramatically when Putin brought into action about 20,000 North Koreans, but theoretically, he's supposed to have available 100,000 North Koreans to try to take back Kursk. And I think it's taken a while. I'm not sure the North Koreans know how to shoot. See, the Russian, if you read the things that leak out of Russia, the Russian army basically wants Putin to send them back. They think they could do better without them. But it stands to reason. These people have never been out of Korea, North Korea. They have a one channel television. It isn't like Iran or pick some of the other dictatorships, even China or Russia, where there's a lot of outside influence. I should say a lot, but a fair amount. None. Very, very. One channel, one newspaper. You get caught with a second one, goodbye. They have like total control over their people. Meanwhile, they go into Russia, they have no idea what's happening. So, I mean, they're going to be used just as people for the Ukrainians to shoot so the Russians can come in behind them. So we'll see how that goes. We've got two more months to worry about this. The missiles that were flown into Russia were not the American missiles. They were from the UK. And so far, Putin hasn't said what he's going to do about it. Before we take a break, I've got to point this out because it just drove me crazy. There's a Washington Post columnist named Jennifer Rubin. I think I know her. She wrote a column saying that Republicans want to kill your children. That's called Jen Rubin's Green Room. Oh, there's Jen. There's good old Jen. Wow. Yeah. All right. We'll make a warning for children.
And you have to be pithy. What do I mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids. It's actually true. And you have to be pithy. What do I mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids. It's actually true.
You have to be pithy. Republicans want to kill your kids. No. Works the other way. Because, Jennifer, I'm sure you're in favor of late-term abortion, which means that you're in favor of crushing the skulls of human beings or sucking them out with a vacuum cleaner. So who kills children? Huh? There are more children aborted in Harlem than born. So, I don't know. The one who founded all this found it to try to limit the size of the black race. You doing that? Is that why you make crazy charges like that? All the blood that you have on your hands of the children you killed? At 8 months, it's a human being, Jennifer. Who's killing kids? That's what you ran on. She had one major platform. I'll kill more kids than anybody. They don't even have a good answer for what happens to the babies born alive. Tampon Tim, we know, let at least 5 of them die. And then he stopped reporting. So don't give me this stuff about who kills kids. Your party is dedicated to the eradication of children. That's your only thing you can get votes for. What a pathetic party. Well, we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back with a very interesting guest.
Very, very special guest coming right up. Stick around, folks.
Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Well, welcome back. This is Rudy Giuliani. And
We are back with a very special guest.
Special guest.
We have on with us Brendan Dilley, someone I've been following for years now. He's a fearless leader of what we call the Dilley meme team on social media. And of course, he's a host of The Dilley Show. And Mayor, his videos, and we're going to play one here just to give
Please,
you
give the audience a chance.
and
They probably have seen them.
little taste here.
I can't imagine they haven't seen them.
And you've got your earpiece in. So we'll play this clip. We'll come back and hear more from Brendan. So here's their clip. This is from today, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Oh, really?
Here's the story, how we save our country. America was disrespected round the world. These brave patriots took a stand and came together. American pride unfurled. America's tired of politicians shady, so Donald Trump assembled heroes of his own, putting love of country over party. True leadership they've shown. We're so ready for a change, excitement's growing. America first, together we'll unite. Better jobs, better food and healthy families.
Drill, baby,
This
drill.
is change, we voted for the MAGA bunch. The MAGA bunch. The MAGA bunch. God bless America. And God bless the MAGA bunch.
When it's time to change, you've got to rearrange who you are into what you're gonna be.
What do you think, Mayor?
I love it.
Not great.
Wasn't that awesome?
I like the ones making fun of Biden the best.
And I've
We got a lot of those.
a few of those out there for the last few years.
Having that material with Biden.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think it was one of those things where we put out so much content so consistently that I think what we were trying to do is to teach Republicans how to fight back
Right.
and how to take back your culture. And that was the agenda. And obviously you can see, when you use content, certainly like the Brady Bunch, that people can relate to, right? That's a staple of American culture. And so when you see that, now you're anchoring that with President Trump and his cabinet, it sticks in people's minds. So yeah, I think it really had a big impact over the last couple of years.
So how did it all get started?
Actually, so I started doing my show in 2018, and by 2019, I was, I think, one of the first people to actually utilize memes as viable content during my show. So I would use it in between segments or in between news stories to just lighten what I was discussing. And over time, I created a bond with a lot of the meme community. And on January 6th,
did you do it yourself?
Oh yeah. I was hosting my own show, and then I just started reaching out to these creators individually. But on January 6th, when I saw that everybody was getting deleted, I had already been suspended from social media prior to that.
Good for you.
So I had let
congratulations.
The gentleman who was
the
gentleman who was singing that song, Miguel California, I had given him the heads up. I said, send all of the memers this link, and it was to a Telegram chat because I knew they were going to get deleted off of social media. And all I said was, if you want to continue to create content that will be seen, join this chat and give me your content and I'll play it on my show, because I knew they wouldn't be able to post it anywhere else. And then from there we just grew, and we started focusing the team and getting more, more intention on what we were doing. So
why were you able to post it, but they could?
Because I had a show to broadcast to where they didn't have social media at all, but I at least had a show.
Okay.
So I told them, you can't post your content. I didn't want them to give up on broadcast or on creating, because I could see it was the future of messaging and entertainment.
Right.
And certainly like that, the one that you just watched, that's all original production. That's our singers singing it. That's our people doing the video editing and so on and so forth. So
how long does it take you to do that?
Our team moves fairly quickly. That one probably was about 3 days, 3 to 4 days.
But some of the things you turned around during the campaign,
very quick.
It almost seemed instantaneous.
Yeah, we created a process.
Something stupid had happened, and then all of a sudden you'd.
Yeah, we
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Rudy Giuliani. This is Rudy Giuliani, and we're back with America's Mayor Live. Brendan,
Yes.
that must have been, I didn't realize you had done it way back in 2020. That was a long haul.
Yeah. We actually, and I'll give you a
You
really
started when he basically said he was going to run.
Yeah. Well, I started doing the show, my show, I started in 2018. The memes really were already going at that point, but I think I was the first person that actually took an entire team of people, 26 people, and we started kind of rallying around a central theme and actually working together. And you know what's really interesting is in 2021, when the censorship was at its peak, we only developed the skills that we have as a result of the censorship because they kept getting us for copyright. They would get us for the music. They would get us for video. And so the team essentially had to start creating original content, original scores, original music. We brought in actual singers.
Mhm.
One of our singers is a former Miss California. She actually performed, Leah. She was at Coachella for President Trump's last rally out there.
Right.
She sang the national anthem at that event.
Right,
That was
right.
that's our girl. And then we've got Miguel California, who also did the song from the Brady Bunch, and we got Metal Mouth, who sings some of the heavier stuff. But we've got this group of talented people. We've got animators, we've got AI specialists. You've certainly seen a lot of the C3.
So you're not doing what the usual. Usually they pull it off.
Yeah,
They
no,
pull it off software or the internet.
we will take some. We'll do some stuff that's more crass, depending on the humor and what we're trying to get across. And then some stuff we'll do AI. One of the very popular videos you probably saw of ours was just before Iowa. President Trump could not stop talking about it, and they played at every rally at closing Iowa. Was the God Made Trump video. That was us that made that as well.
Yes, yeah.
And that was our team that made that as well. We also scared the crap out of Frank Luntz with a video called If I Were the Deep State. And that came out, and he went on Piers Morgan and was having a conniption because he felt that it was too effective. It was the most, he told us, I met him in person in Iowa, and he said, this is the most terrifying piece of political propaganda I've ever seen because of how effective it was. And he had myself from California speaking to his students from his school, and they were asking us questions because he said that he was terrified that we were going to put him out of a job. So
How much is a pollster?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Frank was my pollster when I ran for mayor twice, when I ran for president. He's gotten crazier and crazier.
I think it's,
Did you hear him the other day? He acted shocked that Trump did so well with it.
It was odd.
Hispanic vote.
How did he not see that coming?
There wasn't if there were surprises in the election.
Right.
Democrats knew he was going to do that.
Right.
Democratic pollster said is going to. Nobody missed that.
No, I don't know how he does seem to always be shocked by the culture.
Whoever was questioning him stopped and looked at him. He said, "Well, I was very shocked that he got to."
It was everywhere.
The Hispanic,
right?
Maybe that he got a good share of the Muslim vote. I was kind of
That was reasonably shocking.
Yeah,
And the Hispanic vote was one of the most obvious
Hispanic
things.
vote, sure.
What honestly, I don't actually understand the Democrat thought process on this, because I grew up in California with a lot of Hispanic friends and schoolmates. Hispanic people believe in God. They believe in family.
Yeah,
They're overwhelmingly entrepreneurial spirited. And they're also people that generally are very proud of the nation they reside in. And so
100%,
I don't know how they thought that they would make them good Democrats, given that they love children and God.
I think the Democrats have for some time known they're going to lose, and that's why they bring in so many illegal aliens.
But that's what I mean.
They're trying to make up for the Hispanics.
Do you feel like they're utilizing those voters just to? Do you think those people are actually even casting votes, or do you think they just need names?
Well, first of all, they like the names for redistricting.
Right.
They use it for redistricting. They shouldn't, but they do.
Right.
No, but if you're not looking, they'll vote them. Sure.
Yeah, right. They vote for them, right?
Yeah.
They're just simply
get their names on, and we'll
do it. Yeah.
In Arizona, where even in the last election they claimed no illegal voted.
I lived in Arizona up until 2022. Yeah.
And no, the vote would be about 100 if nobody voted.
Hey, right.
But illegals get they get a car license, an automobile license, and all you need is the automobile license.
Yeah, that's it.
So it says Robert Roberto, and you put it in there. They don't ask if you're a citizen or not.
No, not at all.
So they're all registered,
right?
And they go in and vote. And I wanted the list in 2020. I wanted the list of voters. They wouldn't give it to me.
No,
because I wanted to run it against the list of illegals. And my expert told me it wouldn't be 100%, but we get about 50% of it.
Yeah,
he said 50% may have been about 100,000.
Right, right. No, I lived in Arizona up until 2022, and one of the things that I feel like people really underestimate, and they don't realize the depth, is the corruption from the cartel, the influence of the cartel. I worked in real estate development in Arizona, doing multifamily development, high rise, and they have full blown funds that will fund your deals that are run by La Raza, run by the Mexican mafia, and it's not hidden. It's in plain sight because they have that much influence over the politics and a lot of the influence in Arizona. And so I've always found, especially since about 2018, I thought, how is any Republican going to win a legitimate race out in Arizona, especially when the cartel decides to put its thumb on the scale, just because of the amount of influence they have.
Right. Yeah, because it surprised me. It surprised me that we were having such trouble in Arizona.
Yeah. Well,
this time we won it pretty well, but we should have really won by about 15%.
The down ballot. How do you explain Kerry Lake? How does Ruben Gallego get nearly the same votes as Donald Trump?
Well,
I mean, do you feel like that's
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't straighten out their act for the presidential vote.
Right.
And figure nobody's going to pay attention. And that's why they delayed the vote so much. I mean, for any time a vote is delayed, they're messing around.
Right. They're playing games. No. Absolutely
no reason to delay a vote.
Right.
If you're delaying a vote because a couple have to come in, that's just a couple of votes.
Yeah, but that's not 4 days, 5 days. How many days were they counting the Lake Gallego race? 6 days, 5 days?
Only a small number of trickling in anyway.
Right.
But some of their districts were only 50% counted.
Right. And they're not big districts. Some of those were small.
Oh, France.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
France did it in 7 hours for the whole country.
It's so embarrassing.
And how does New York get counted?
Right.
New York gets counted by all the time. I never remember New York going beyond the morning.
Right. Having something by the next day.
18 million people.
Right. It's absurd. They try to get you to believe that people can't do basic arithmetic and basic counting of ballots, you know?
They had a system here in Florida that DeSantis broke up. It was actually careful. They wouldn't cheat in an election unless it was within 2 points, because they would have to produce too many phony votes, and you find it.
Right.
And they had 2 counties that would claim to be late all the time. This one, Palm Beach County and Broward County, right below us.
Yeah.
And if you read the 2 women who ran it had been doing it for 20 years.
Didn't one get arrested?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Got her out, and the other one retired.
Yeah.
And then I knew when that happened that we would win in 2020.
Right.
Because here, I mean, but they wouldn't try it if they had to push it the way Pennsylvania did. I mean, he was ahead by 800,000 votes. And they had to create a Bible.
Right.
They were, but they were ready for it. They were shipping ballots in October. They had them all stay
2020.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were ready
because they knew that he was going to beat them.
Yes.
But they underestimated
how much.
They thought they'd have to make up a couple 100,000 votes.
So this time around, do you feel like we swamped the vote even bigger?
Yeah.
And we had an RNC that was willing to actually file
Yep.
legal proceedings.
I also think that Shapiro didn't particularly care.
Yeah, he was going to let that one
May-
go.
I mean, from his point of view, it's better she lost.
Yeah.
He'd be jammed up now
Mhm.
for 8 years
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah.
With her there.
Maybe
Well,
16.
and you know what? Kamala was,
He's already now instead of being a guy who was also ran, he's now one of the 3 or 4 leading candidates of the Democratic Party.
right.
Which would you rather be? And I think Gretchen Yo-Yo, same thing with her.
Whitmer, Newsom. Well,
Well, I'll
California's
tell
different,
you,
but
here's what the demise of Kamala Harris's career represents to Democrats, though, is they know that she had to toe the radical party line. And now that they have a massive failure in a presidential election with that platform, it gives every Democrat a chance to pivot back towards the middle,
Mhm.
even a little bit, to appear more moderate and probably more in line with their legitimate values. I can't imagine all these people actually believe half the craziness that they espouse. So I think they looked at her as sort of the end of an era of Democrat policy where they can justifiably sell it to their base and say, do you want us to keep losing elections like this? Then we have to have a little bit more reasonable ideas, and not that they're going to come, in all the way to the middle, but I think it's going to allow them, people like Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, to appear to be more reasonable and less radical than some of the people that, we've had in office.
I think it's debatable. I mean, they're going to all react in different ways.
Right.
Because there's some of them that also believe she wasn't radical enough. Because she changed her, she should have stayed with her position.
Right.
But nobody believed her changes. I mean, she's so inauthentic. She doesn't know how to deliver the change.
Horrible.
I mean, she just
You know what? We saw her in 2020. She started out at 15%, and then America saw her for 5 months, and she ended at 1%.
Right.
And then dropped out.
She was a big help.
She was
a big help.
She's an idiot.
I wonder if Biden would have done. Biden would have lost too.
that was my question, Mayor.
Biden would have done better.
What do you guys think of that? I mean, she lost every swing state by, wasn't even close
Right.
if you compare it to 2016.
It wasn't scary.
Yeah.
It was a very, it was a fairly obvious outcome.
Where do you think Biden would have done better among those swing states? I know I would say
Probably in the Rust Belt.
Exactly. Michigan, and I'm from Michigan.
More competitive in Pennsylvania, more competitive in Wisconsin,
More competitive in Michigan, right?
Michigan,
Depending, of course,
potentially.
on if he stayed in, depending on how Biden performed in the intervening.
We don't know how bad he would have gotten in those
Exactly.
closing 8 weeks.
Exactly.
I mean,
But
look
could
at him
they
in
have
June.
Exactly. But could they have hidden him? Could they have hidden him away?
No.
At
couldn't
that
have
point, they
hidden him
can't. When
away
you're sitting
again.
president, it's a little tough, right?
To be fair, Ted, he was cooked in June when he did the one debate.
Oh, of course.
It was
yeah.
that was the
it.
end. Everybody went, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
There was no coming back from it.
From the one worst
Yes.
performing candidate to
Right.
go up again. They claim to have all these stars.
No, they got nobody.
But the one person.
Well, he did do them a disservice by waiting so long.
Yeah.
He should have. His situation was predictable 3 years earlier, 2 years,
Agreed.
and he should have. I mean, fallen down, going up the stairs,
Right.
and saying that you saw Roosevelt on television, and Roosevelt was dead for 3 years. I mean, the things he would say are
Hey,
clearly.
he tried to call on a congresswoman who had passed away like 3 years earlier. Remember that?
So you've got to say to yourself, if you know the disease, you say to yourself,
Right.
Even if he isn't terrible yet, and I think he was, this thing just goes down and down and down.
Yeah, it doesn't get better over
And I
time.
would say, I don't understand how they take this risk. This guy could wake up any morning and not be able to talk.
Correct.
He could wake up someone and say,
Yeah, that's it.
and here he is in the middle of a presidential campaign.
He's cooked.
What are you taking a chance like that for?
Well, I'm of the belief
They
that-
were afraid to take him out. I mean, they're afraid to go to him and say, out, out, out. And then they could have had a real primary. And I still think we would have beaten him because they got a bunch of real turds.
They got no the challenge is that the radical Democrats, their voters and their money is so far left, and this election was about the middle.
Mhm.
It wasn't about the hard left or the hard right. It was about people who went, okay, that's all well and good. I understand whether it's abortion and these issues over here, but I can't afford groceries and I can't afford a house. Talk to me about the things that
Right,
actually affect
right.
my tangible life. And so you know, I think the more that she ran left to appease her donors and her radical base, the worse she did with independents and the worse she did with the middle of America. And I think there was a statistic out today that they said that the counties where homes are most have become most unattainable were leaning even harder towards Trump in this election. They voted overwhelmingly towards Trump. The counties that these homes are unattainable, and I think Americans haven't given up on home ownership and the American dream. And whether you're on the left or the right, I have a friend who lives in Chicago, and one of his most insanely, intensely liberal friends voted for President Trump. And we're talking, she won't even say his name.
Why?
And her rationale was, I'm a single mother with a small business, and I will not survive Kamala Harris. That's what she said. And this is
And she can't stand him.
she's a Democrat, registered Democrat. She won't say her name. Won't say President Trump's name. Will not say it. Calls him the orange whatever.
The orange monster.
And then she went into the booth and casted her ballot for him and said, I cannot afford to have a Democrat run this country.
You know, that's a very practical vote, though.
Oh, God bless her.
If you think about it, it's a very, very practical.
She was an adult at the end.
If you buy all that stuff about how terrible he is,
Right.
even with all that stuff about how terrible he is, he's better than her.
Can we also sort of appreciate if
And then you've got to back off a little when they start doing the Hitler thing.
that's what I mean.
You got to start saying they're a little wacky now.
And that's what I mean. This is a woman who believed hook, line, and sinker in all of the stuff in the courts, right? All the women's stuff, the Hitler accusations. And yet, and this just really speaks to the integrity of the Democrat base, is this woman still knowing all of these things that she believed to be true, still voted for him because she's like, I don't want to lose it.
He was Hitler.
I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose money.
Maybe they don't know what Hitler was.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Hitler.
Well,
Like, it's so ridiculous that Joe and Mika
right
go and kiss his ring, and they call them Hitler, and what it proves to you they're such big liars.
Well, what was amazing was
even Biden.
I said it on my show. I said the second that they had on Monday when they said that Joe and Mika had went to Mar-a-Lago, I said they're in trouble, because what they didn't realize about their own viewership is those are the most radical people on the
saying
left.
to themselves, why are they bowing down to Hitler?
And that's right. So they lost the only people who still watched that garbage show was the most radical far left. And they just alienated those people by saying, what's the problem with us talking to who we just called Hitler a week earlier? And I don't know how they didn't see this coming, because their viewership has fell off a cliff in the last 3 days. Oh, it's dramatically cut in half.
It wasn't much anyway.
Right. So they lost all the crazy cat ladies with the purple hair, and they were
they lost their left flank.
I know the Fox show, but what's the
CNN
morning show on CNN?
My goodness,
CNN has a morning show,
right? They do. I used
That
to
it?
be Alison
Was that the one they
Camerata.
changed? Was that the one?
Alison Camerata
And Andrew Cuomo for a while.
It was, or Chris Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo.
Don Lemon got a morning show.
I think
He offended, he offended that woman's age, and they fired him.
Yeah, Don Lemon was made. Caitlin Collins, my old pal.
Yeah, he made fun of her age.
They had the morning show for a hot second.
It was like 2 months.
Then Don Lemon was.
But she got her own show after she screwed up the debate with Trump.
Yeah,
I never understood
town
that.
hall.
She actually is one of the 10 things you could write down as what helped Trump get elected.
Yes.
Her.
Easily.
Her. Unbelievable.
Caitlin, look what you did.
He handled every question she asked. And then she also acted like a nasty, just exactly what you would think. It's a very nasty, arrogant person.
I don't know how these people don't realize the way that is presented to the public, though. Like, when you're just overtly, even if you don't like President Trump and you disagree with his policies, if he comes onto your show and he's polite and cordial and he's sincere and he's answering your questions, how could it possibly be a good thing to be a belligerent, rude person to him? Even just from an optic standpoint, you're going to look ridiculous. And you're right. He came across very measured, reasonable, and gregarious, and she was rude. And
someone probably told her, and she got trained
her.
Show you can stand up to him. Don't let him walk all over you.
Yeah.
Which she interprets as being nasty.
Right.
As well as being well prepared on the facts, which you weren't.
And then look, America's not ready for that. That's Kamala Harris. When she, remember the closing weeks of the campaign, she's screaming into the microphone. And I'm like, I'm sorry, honey, this is still America. And that men and women all hate women like that. Nobody looks at that and says, my God, she's strong. They all think the same thing. Like, what a massive bee. Like, everyone because it's innate. Everyone just goes, they pull back from the screen and go, I don't.
What is that?
Right.
Exact. That's a good point. And wasn't Kamala, didn't she end up kind of in a doom loop where her poll numbers were sinking? So they're like, we got to get her out more. We got to get her out more.
Right.
She gets out more, and then her numbers.
I told you that.
Yeah.
Remember I said about 2 weeks before, I said they're in an impossible,
Yeah.
they're in an impossible position. I've seen other candidates like this. The
DeSantis?
candidate, the more exposed they are, the more they lose votes.
Yeah.
Now I had a Roger Ailes was my first political consultant. David Garth was my second. David Garth was a genius at handling candidates like that. He started the man on the street ads.
No kidding.
So he would use them. Like when I was with him, my campaign manager said, we're not gonna do it. My candidate can talk. He said, don't worry. When they talk, I let them talk. But the ones that have to do it are a bunch of jackasses.
Right.
So they'll come on and they'll say, I'm voting for Governor DeSantis. He's the best governor in the state. Governor DeSantis loves his children. And you never see DeSantis. I mean,
Right.
And he said, I approve the message. he got a couple of real dodos elected that way.
Yeah. No.
But he told me there are people you could put on and they lose votes.
Yes.
There's something about their appearance. There's something about their manner.
They're unlikable.
They're just, we all have that feeling, right? Every once in a while, we'll meet somebody. Ooh, I don't like
You pull back. Like, dude, that guy's
the
weird.
guy running for office. That's a hell of a liability.
Well, okay. So can I open up and tell you a little story? So when we went after DeSantis in the primaries,
He's
I had done a full profile on all of his staff for my meme team. So we knew how we were going to start attacking, right? So psychologically, I was like, okay, here's his surrogates. Here's who they are. Our goal is to basically tear them apart so that they can't focus on their job. But with DeSantis, after about 30 days, it became apparent we didn't have to go after him on policy. We didn't have to go after him on leadership. He was just weird. And we just hammered weird. And he would rub his booger face and then shake people's hands. And he'd wear his little boots. And, and then he was wearing the lifts and he was doing the weird mannerisms. We started making all the music about him. And it was, our entire premise was, don't hire him. He's weird. And then the feedback they were getting in Iowa before the caucus was people were like, he's just kind of weird. I don't like him. Because they would ask, they were polling and they're saying, we're getting feedback that is telling us it's the memes that destroyed him because people keep referencing he's awkward, insincere. He's insecure about his shoes and he has weird mannerisms. And so Iowans just went, I don't want any part of this guy. He's an awkward little man. So
it's very funny. It's really true. But I know it because in 2018, I was ordered to go down and campaign for him.
No way.
I was Trump's lawyer then. I was very busy getting ready for the impeachment. I didn't want to go.
Right.
I needed the time. He said, no, this guy's he
needs help.
He said, yeah, he needs help. My people down there tell me every time he appears, he loses 20 votes. And the other guy he ran with, Rick Scott, is the same thing.
Right.
Rick Scott actually is a wonderful guy.
Wonderful person.
And was a great governor.
Yeah.
Just as good as DeSantis, maybe better.
Better.
But boy, until now, he has never won an election by more than 1%. I have no idea how he won by 10. Trump had to do it for him.
Who, for Rick?
For Rick, yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Rick is another guy. When he appears, people will go, oh.
Well, yeah. He's less weird than DeSantis.
Yeah, but he has a boring delivery.
Yeah.
You go,
so appreciate. He's a little more analytical.
I helped him get through.
Yeah.
By attacking Governor Christ.
Yeah.
I did an ad saying that I knew Governor Christ quite well, and I've known a lot of people in politics all my life. And without any doubt, he's the single most dishonest man I ever worked with.
Wow.
And I did it in the middle of a speech in little Havana.
Oh, I love it.
And they caught it just right. I mean, it was like, it wasn't done. They got it in the middle of the speech. And then they played it. And Rick will, to this day, come up to me like, he won the election for me.
That's great.
Now, the other guy I campaigned 2 weekends with him. And the only guy I saw that was the biggest stiff than him ever was Romney. Oh, my God. Romney was such a stiff, but it wasn't the same thing. He didn't lose votes.
Right.
He just didn't get any.
Right.
It wasn't like unpleasant. He was just a stiff.
Right.
Didn't you go to some sort of parade with him?
I did a first rally with him in the Italian section of Boston.
Oh, boy.
Where I used to campaign all the time for Bill Weld and Salucci, and they used to campaign for me. And so I knew it much better than he did. So we get to the end and we give a speech in the park, and the speech is over. All the Italians go crazy. Oh, they're going crazy. I just automatically, without looking for him, I go down into the crowd and I'm shaking hands. I'll get him shaking hands. And my chief of staff comes up to me, Tony Carbonetti, and he says, Mayor, he's still on the stage. I said, what the hell is he doing? I don't know, maybe he's scratching his balls.
So he's just stuck out there.
Going up there. He said, you've got to get him down. So I go up to the stage and I said, Mitt, we generally like shake hands after.
Right.
And he comes down and he does a little. Obviously didn't want to be with these greasy people.
Right. Oh no. Oh no.
He really he had that.
Oh yeah.
He had that
Ick.
And despite
I
all
don't think I really like people.
Yeah, I don't think I like this guy. They don't like
really
me.
he reminds you of like a boss, right? Management. And Mitt, look, if he didn't go into, I love when President Trump talks about 2012, right? If he didn't go into hiding for that final month, he may have had a shot at that thing.
Possibly.
He may have had a shot at that.
Possibly.
Probably not.
America was that
scared.
desperate, I think. They were that desperate.
scared when that big fat woman contradicted him.
Is that what it was?
Candy Crowley.
Yeah, when Candy Crowley let him have it. I mean, she's bigger than him, and
Oh yeah.
Well, speaking of big people, and then
you're wrong. He was actually right.
Yeah.
speaking of big people,
It's amazing all their fact checking. It's really true. Even in this one, every one of their fact checking was wrong.
Yes.
I don't know if they got one right.
Probably not.
Every single one was wrong.
That's right. And then Christie, of course, famously gave Obama that big bear hug. And I don't know if it's fair, but Romney loves to point to that moment as hurting him. I think there was
We had to get an operation after. I sat through a debate preparation in 2020 with Christie right next to me, and he was just coughing and coughing,
Oh, of
and
course.
coughing all over me. 2 days later, he goes into the hospital and everybody in that room except for Trump, who had already had it, and everybody gets COVID, and I didn't get COVID.
Unbelievable.
And then I got it 2 weeks later.
Oh,
Yeah, because I really wanted to blame it on him. Because here's I said, Chris, will you cover your mouth, damn it.
I wonder what Chris is up to these days. Of course, he had a falling out, you could call it, with the president. He's
doing
ran for president too, didn't he?
briefly, yeah, for like 5 minutes. We didn't even get to meme him because he wasn't on anybody's radar. No, he's not.
Forgot he ran. He did run for a minute.
He was. He was on there. You know what was one of my favorite moments of the whole campaign season, and especially the primary, was, and I don't know if you guys saw this, in the last 2 days of the Pence for President campaign. Did you guys see when he went to the Walgreens and he was in the line? The people were waiting to get their, yeah, they're waiting to get their pharmaceuticals, and there's those pictures of Pence standing there trying to shake hands. It was like 6 people, and he's giving a stump speech at a Walgreens where they're just like held hostage. It was one of my favorite moments of any political campaign, because I'm like, man, you're a twisted guy, because they can't leave. They need their meds. You know what I mean? And they're just stuck, and everyone's face just looks like, my God, man, I just came in for my, my blood pressure medicine or whatever. And there's Mike Pence stump speeching for, it was glorious, man. It was one of my favorite moments. And yeah, there was a bunch of people that ran in 2024 that people forget about because they didn't register anywhere, including, Chris Christie and Pence. And
that's right. It wasn't just DeSantis and Haley. There was a
Vivek.
Yeah, Vivek. Yeah, he was there for a little while, but I think there was other Republicans that were just horrendous, and it was laughable that they had even thrown their names into the ring.
The guy from Arkansas.
Oh yeah,
Ada. I love the president.
Yeah,
Ada
Hutchinson.
Oh,
he was a real sanctimonious.
Yeah, he's weird.
He was one very sanctimonious guy.
He may have been more sanctimonious than sanctimonious. He may have,
What?
He may have been more sanctimonious than de-sanctimonious.
You guys want to know a story? I'll tell you.
I'll
tell you.
There was another terrible candidate.
Here's a
sanctimonious.
So in February of 2024, just before President Trump started calling Ron DeSantis Rob, I actually, this is a true story. I actually explained the rationale about misnaming him 2 weeks before that to one of his staff members. And I said, look, there's no, because, you know, as a man, there's nothing worse than another man deliberately calling you by the wrong name over and over. And my argument that in the premise was President Trump is so famous, he could brand this guy as Rob, and most of America won't know that it's incorrect because no one knows who the hell he is outside of Florida.
Right.
And so, and then 2 weeks later, there comes out that press release. He refers to him as Rob, and then the joke is born, right? And so later, you guys will love this. So later this summer at the Iowa Fair, one of the fans of my show, we called him the Dilley 300. He's walking past Ron DeSantis, and there's a camera going live, and he goes, "What's up, Rob?" And DeSantis doesn't correct him. He just goes, "Hey, man." And it was one of the most humiliating and hilarious things because it's close enough to Ron,
But it could be different. Yeah,
it's such a jerk move as a man.
people- yeah.
You go, "Oh, it's Rob DeSantis." And we did this all through the campaign cycle.
I noticed that.
And as people would try to correct you, and you go, "Nah, I'm talking about the other guy, the governor of Florida." And they'd say, "No, that's Ron. No, Trump calls him Rob. That's the guy I'm talking about."
I mean, I'm telling you, Mayor, and you know this, right? We followed Brendan and the whole Dilley meme team. They really did make a difference to the point where I'm sure much of the campaign acknowledged that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, their content, right, when it was constant and just incredible work. And so I've known them for a few years.
Thank
now.
God for saving America.
Yes, amen.
We were headed. I was headed for somewhere. I didn't know where.
Yeah.
I figured they got elected, they'll definitely put me in jail.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Why give them a trial? I made sure that
right. No,
they got the $148 million judgment on a trial.
Oh, it's horrible. That's horrible.
But on a trial, you know who I was before?
How do you get
I
$148
would-
million without a trial?
You get a DC jury, and you get the judge who was the most bloodthirsty January 6th judge on the DC court, Beryl Howell,
Wow.
who was the chief judge, who halfway through called all the other judges in and said, "You're not giving high enough sentences."
The J6ers.
This is the J6. So
Yeah.
this is the same judge
Yeah.
that ordered your stuff.
Oh man, she was like
Nasty.
nasty. It was like it was.
Are you still
ridiculous.
dealing with her? Are you still like in
Well,
that?
we are. So
We have to be
holding
careful
me
what
in-
we say.
yeah,
we got to.
well,
She's holding me in contempt now because we did an injunction that I wouldn't criticize them.
Oh, right.
Then until the case was over.
So maybe we shouldn't.
So no, but then they started criticizing me.
Okay. Maybe I should criticize her.
Wait,
You should
the minute-
not
I
say
know what it-
anything,
The
'cause-
minute they started criticizing me, I said it's over. They broke the contract.
Yeah.
So the hell with it. I'm not going to be a punching bag for them.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, it's like a little ridiculous. I have a video showing them counting votes. I mean, I have a video.
You know what though? It all
Often have it on video.
it's well now they say that you can't believe video, right? Like
well, that was the thing with AI now and stuff. So
Yeah.
some people were concerned, like, oh, now they can make it look like you're doing it.
That-
Obviously
that
gives you
video-
plausible deniability for everything.
Was that video was the arena's video.
right.
Yeah, and the arena didn't even know had it. After about 3 weeks, the owner said, "Let's go take a look at our video. We maybe have some things that are helpful." So they got out their video, and they had
Tons of helpful.
very helpful.
Yeah, very
You
helpful.
see them throwing the people out,
Yeah.
and then you see them.
So
That's right.
so Ted, I was gonna actually speaking of AI,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the night before the election, we went mega viral again. And the Washington Post, the BBC, like literally 9 different organizations were writing hit pieces about us because of our Martin Luther King video. Did you see our
That's
AI
right.
on
I
it?
did. Yeah.
And we did
That one is-
15 million plays the night before the election,
that was-
November 4th. 15 million views on it the night before the election.
I'm gonna try to find that.
And they were losing their mind. It's pinned on my my X page if you want to go look. It's pinned at the top. But they were losing their
Yeah,
mind
let's play it.
because of how effective the messaging was in the video. And then Martin Luther King's daughter responded, and she was, "My father never would have supported President." She was irate
Oh,
and telling us to take the video down because she felt that my father would never have supported President Trump in this video. And so then it went international, and they were reaching out to me to ask me how I felt about this. And I said, well, I will give you feedback as long as you promise to run this story before the election, because that video has about 15 million plays already, and you're doing me a favor. So none of these guys seem to understand the Streisand effect and how that works.
Right.
And
let's
you got that one teed up.
We
It's
have it.
beautiful.
We've got it teed up, so we're gonna play this one, Mayor, right now.
We've been told again and again that we cannot vote for the man that did more for the black community than any other president. If a black man dares speak out in support of Donald Trump, a Democrat is always there to call that man an Uncle Tom, a house Negro, or even worse. We've been used by the Democrats. For decades, we've supported the party of slavery and Jim Crow, supported the party of the Ku Klux Klan. Broken promises and broken homes, our families demolished, our communities destroyed, and yet we continue to vote for the Democrats. They've convinced us they're our only friends when their actions speak the truth for all to see. They act surprised that we're unsatisfied. Well, we can never be satisfied as we're taken for granted, counted on for votes, and then cast aside for those who come to this country illegally. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their freedoms and locked away for minor offenses, or the president's own son, having committed a litany of high crimes and perversions, walks free without a care, while our own president dares to tell us we ain't black if we don't get in line behind him. The hypocrisy of the Democratic Party knows no bounds. No, we are not satisfied, and we will never be satisfied until those who oppress us while they claim to be our friends are stripped of their powers and brought to full justice under God. Until our cities are no longer overrun with migrants and crime. Until God, family, and country are once again the strength of our nation. Today, we are governed by those who have cast aside both God and reason, where every form of degeneracy is not only tolerated, but celebrated. Enough voting for Democrats who claim they care about us, but enact the very policies that push us down and keep us there. Enough of these frauds and liars who claim to be against racism, yet believe an individual's race is their defining quality. Once we say enough from every mountainside, let freedom ring. We recognize that Donald J. Trump kept the promises he made to all Americans, and we will vote for Donald Trump as our president, and we will fight beside him to make America great again. We will not allow the American dream to die, and as we unite under the banner of President Trump and America First, let there be no doubt that yes, as the man always says, the best is yet to come.
They were mad. They were.
You can imagine me too happy.
I get how do you do the voice?
That's the AI. Yeah,
AI does the voice.
It takes about 500 hours to train an AI to do a voice model that's absolutely perfect. We did it with Ron DeSantis. We did it with Martin Luther King. We did it with John Wayne before Iowa. We've done it with countless others, very famous people.
But he's got a very distinctive voice. It should be easier in a way.
Yeah, well, it's really funny is the gentleman who recorded that and actually is the one reading that and then having the AI do it. His name is Ramble Rants. He's from New York and he has a very, very strong New York accent. So if you know who you're listening to, you can sort of still catch a little bit of his cadence. But yeah, that's an AI model, and it turned out really well.
Malcolm X actually gave a speech in which he said, the real enemy of the black people is the white liberal.
Right.
I mean, he knew. And, nothing else about Malcolm X I probably agree with, but that's pretty hard to avoid if you're black.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially now, right? As time has gone, I think that the tide is shifting a little with this election, and depending on how things go, potentially in the future. And wow. So Brendan Dilley and his entire team, and like you said, there's 30 of you,
25
members.
So where do you go from here?
Well, now we are focused obviously on defending President Trump, but more importantly, we want to tell the story of the next administration, and that was one of the things I think was not done real well during the first administration was getting the message out on his accomplishments.
It was first of all they were rookies,
right?
Too confused. Then immediately,
right,
they got set back on their heels with these crazy.
Our team views themselves as storytellers for America, and that's what we do. And we're trying to essentially, take that and make that history tangible to the regular person who can go online and watch it and understand complicated subject matter through, you know, music and video and different things like that. So that's our agenda, is essentially to chronicle this presidency. So thank you.
They're working, and there's a whole.
Where were you located?
I'm actually up the coast from you now. I'm in Stewart.
And we got to get on his
Just-
show. I don't know if
Yeah.
you do you still only do live guests? Are you taking Zoom
Yeah, but
calls?
now if you guys ever want to come up to the house,
No, I'd like to
I have
see
a
the
whole
studio.
studio. Yeah, I have a whole studio
We
set up.
love checking
Yeah, so
studio.
you guys can come in.
Maybe steal some of the better ideas.
This is from our mutual friend Alan Jacoby,
Oh,
Patriot Cigars. I brought you just a cigar, just in case.
Just in case.
We might have to end the show here.
Yeah, I would rather you have it and not want it than not have it and want it. So
Okay, I got it. I'm not quite biting yet.
yeah, never know. I brought us a couple Moabs from our friend Alan Jacoby. So it's my Patriot Cigars. Great guy.
Oh yeah, we know.
You guys know
I mean, I really, every night we were for weeks and weeks, we always had one or two great little clips, you know, of her or him. Now we don't even have it anymore.
Oh yeah.
Every night I could count on him saying something crazy,
Right.
or her doing a word salad,
Right.
a crazy word salad, or him going him
What are we gonna do?
him going to Cambodia and think he's in Colombia.
I liked how he walked into the rainforest this week. Did you see this? He disappeared into the rainforest this week.
The plane, he goes up to the president of Cambodia and he says, "Congratulations on that wonderful win." The guy's looking at him. What are you talking about? He thought he was the president of Colombia. Now, I can understand if it's Colombia and Venezuela.
Right, something close.
These two guys don't look alike.
No, they're in the wrong
Look alike.
hemisphere, man. That's brutal.
And then the rainforest.
No, the rainforest. He disappeared into the rainforest. Remember, he gave a speech and he turned around and they were like, "Where is he going?" And all there was behind him was rainforest. And he just
I think if Georgia Maloney had let him go, he'd have gone on one of those planes and knocked himself out.
dressed like the guy from Jurassic Park. He looks exactly like the guy from Jurassic Park, even with the glasses.
Play that.
It's Biden disappearing into the rainforest. There he goes. Off he goes. He's gonna get like abducted by pygmy people. You know what I mean? Like, where's he going? Just there he goes. Just go.
By Michael Bay.
Dude. I'm waiting.
Real. This is 100% real.
I'm waiting for a T-Rex to get him. It's ridiculous.
Joe, over here, Joe.
There is nothing back there. There's nothing.
And this first stepmother is bad. Just keep going, Joe. Don't come back.
Oh yeah, she's totally okay with it. Get out of
I'm
here.
tired of feeding you.
Yeah, I appreciated that the very first photo of Kamala post loss was.
I was convinced about 2 years ago she was looking around for somebody new.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he's gonna be gone soon. Who's gonna take care of me?
Yeah, well, she was holding on, hoping, she'd get 4 more years in the White House.
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
No. Kamala, you guys see the picture? She's first picture. It's supposed to be cutesy family picture, and she's
Post-election, you mean?
post-election. Yeah, she's with her nieces, and then you pan down to the bottom right corner, and there's that half glass of wine. It's like she already was like, "Oh, okay, this is how we're dealing with the loss." Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Good for you, Kamala.
Well, Dr. Maria, my partner, was absolutely sure that she's an alcoholic.
Yeah, that's
And-
pretty obvious.
And Pelosi too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pelosi,
She's pretty pickled. I mean, that's
I used to describe.
Have you met her?
Oh yeah, I know her pretty well.
Is
way back.
she worse in person?
Worse looking or worse as a human being?
As a human being, like is she just as unlikable in person? Kind of
Nothing charming about her.
no.
Well, because first time I met her, I had a bad impression of her. So
Really?
I don't know that I ever. No, she's not a charming person. You wonder. Usually, like somebody like Clinton is a very charming guy,
Right. Gotcha.
and you can see how that, or even Obama in a certain way,
At least can
has
talk.
some charm. But she just turns you off. Well, look, we won. We in 2010 we won the House back for the first time in 48 years, running against her.
Yeah.
I must have given 50 speeches, and I concluded the speech all over America. I campaigned for 50 different members of Congress. And I've always finished a speech saying, "Please, will you do me a favor? Just one favor. I like Sunday morning television. Would you please get her to the hell off Sunday morning television? It ruins my whole
It's the only way.
She doesn't have a single original body part on her face. When it moves.
Oh yeah. Oh no. No, that's a scary looking individual.
But you got to give somehow that woman has been able to hold on to power for quite. She has a. She really does have
Well,
a
that was a
grip on
very
that
unusual thing that happened. I mean, she lost. She
2010.
She lost decisively.
In 2010.
The House, right?
Yeah.
And then she is getting it back. I mean, it's amazing, and they still go with her.
You're right. In 2018 or 2018, right?
18, yeah, after Paul Ryan blew.
Now this one,
Now we got it back.
Yeah.
this is going to be a tough one because Biden has decided she's the bad guy,
Yeah.
and a lot of the Democrats are blaming it on her, and they want her gone. So I don't know.
He's running for re-election in 2026, she said. She just filed her paperwork to run again.
I've never heard of like a speaker stepping down and staying. It's almost embarrassing.
It's humiliating.
McCarthy got the.
Yeah, he knew. Yeah, he got the hell out of there. Yeah, he knew.
I mean, it's so different between being speaker and being a member.
Right.
Wonder what? Nothing better to.
How bad is your home life got to be that you just are like, just stay in DC. It's fine.
How close the margin is in the House. Maybe she's really thinking,
I don't know.
I gotta hang in there. I might get back in the speaker.
Maybe her husband requires her to keep it so they get the inside information.
But at what point she's going to be 86? Like, when's enough enough?
You can still get the inside information.
I mean, like, how much money do you need at 86 if you're already worth $150 million? Like, what's another 10 or $20 million going to do?
Yeah. Some people.
I don't understand it.
$80. I don't think we can relate to that.
I have a theory on this. I think some of these politicians hang on because they actually are legitimately afraid of letting go because they have nothing else to do with themselves.
100%.
I think it's just, this is my identity
100%.
and I have no idea how to retire or be a grandmother. And I don't want to do that. So I will just cling to whatever this is. I mean, look at Dianne Feinstein. They rolled her in there.
Yeah.
Remember the final days?
Right.
That was like 3 days before she died.
She loved having that little Chinese spy with her.
That poor little thing. She was so gnarled that Chinese
Like they had to take her hand.
their driver. Yeah, her driver.
She's
right?
on the intelligence community. She had a Chinese spy driving her. Oh, well.
That whole party full of it. Yeah.
Eddie,
We could go all.
this has been great. We're going to do this again. Absolutely. Thank you.
We're going to do a home and home. We brought Brendan out here.
Absolutely. It's been my honor. It's an honor.
Enjoyed it very, very much. These are really, I'd love to look at all of them.
Oh my mayor, we could, I can't. There's hundreds, if not that.
Thousands.
Combined, there's thousands, right? There's 25 of these individuals. We didn't shout out Magical Trevor.
Magic Trevor.
He's the man. That's one I see.
He's the
Ramble
boss.
Rant is
Ramble.
great. Can't name them all right now, but
C3P does a lot of the AI ones you guys love so much. C3P memes, yeah.
He's great. Leah.
Yeah, Leah. California sang on that Brady one. Brandy did the video for that with Mo, Lauren Eve. Yeah, we got a whole
Randy the Savage.
Yeah, oh, that's my lovely wife right over here.
How many do you have? Like what kind of how big a cast?
We got 20. There's 25 of us right now on my team. So that's where we are always working round the clock 24/7. Always something coming out.
And that stuff gets
and
out.
You're watching everything going
Everything.
on. See what you can turn around.
Culture, politics, all of it combined. That's what we do.
So everything is like an emergency.
Always. Yeah, always a sense of urgency. That's right.
That's how we treat this show too, right, Mayor? So I think we can relate.
Oh, in a way we do, yeah.
Every day, right? And so we'll share more of this content, maybe each day we'll pick out.
Yeah, we would love to.
I mean, there's just so much. And they've done one on you, and you love that one. We'll find that one.
That's a good one too.
Years ago, last year.
Very big.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
that was a real good one.
Well, I'm gonna say goodnight because I'm dying to have this cigar.
Let's go.
Unless you go get me an ashtray, and I'll do it right on the air.
Let's go. It's that time.
I did a show at the Cigar Club on Monday night, and it was
Palm Beach.
the Palm Beach Cigar Club. I tell you, a couple of people fainted. There was so much. We picked the night because the lady who owns the cigar place said Monday's not a busy night. We ended up with stand.
Oh my God!
It's a beautiful lounge.
Okay,
but it's small. And I used to belong to the Grand Havana Room, which was gigantic, great ceilings, and people are. I took one of my closest friends was with me. He almost fainted. We had to try.
The cigar smoke was just so thick.
Yeah, he's a cigar smoker.
I love cigars.
We'll light it up before we get off.
We'll light up before we get off the air. And
that's the case.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, we got cutters and the whole nine.
I keep a whole sample.
Oh, look at you, you're set.
And we'll get everybody that wants one once we sign off here.
In here.
So of course,
what do we?
Brendan Dilley and the Dilley meme team. And of course, he hosts the Dilley show.
The really good thing is, or pardon of Maria, Dr. Maria likes cigars.
That's right.
So we don't get.
Where do we cut these? I'm not trying to make a mess at your
Oh,
desk.
yeah,
Is that
just put it
okay?
right there.
Just,
Sure.
Oh, cut it up.
just right. Just all right.
Look at that.
All right. Look at that. Thank you, sir. That was excellent. Oh,
I was pretty close to Mr. Fuente before he died.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The mayor's been on the cover of Cigar Aficionado.
Aficionado, yeah.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. So as we wind down here, folks, be sure to check out Brendan Dilley at Warlord Dilley on X and the entire Dilley meme team. I'm not sure if they have a full list somewhere, but
Yeah, next.
on X, you
Mhm.
can find the full list of
Very
members.
nice.
And these guys have been
Right on my
America's
page.
first patriots
This is a very nice cigar.
from the jump.
Isn't that great? It's a Moab
Mm.
by Patriot Cigars.
So
And see you tomorrow night, 7:00 on X
and Frank's Speech Television.
and Frank Speech Network or television.
Frank Speech Network.
Right. And then we'll see you at 8 here on
X, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place.
What edition is this? 501.
Tonight is episode 544.
Okay.
So that every weeknight.
You've been
for the last
working.
544 weeknights.
You've been working, man. Wow.
We've been working. And so that
Working on the next one already, and we're going to ask you to please pray for the people in Israel and for the people in Ukraine who don't deserve this. They're now locked up in this war with no end, and it'll end soon. But please pray for them. Pray for the people in Iran who have tried very, very hard to break this terrible dictatorship they live under, and we give them no help. And of course, pray for us. Pray for America. And we thank you, God, for coming to our aid at just the right time. God bless America.
Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. It was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,